What is going on, guys? Gray here with another Destiny 2 video. We're finally here. It's the final TWAB before the start of the new season. Should be a pretty big one today, guys. I mean, we're probably going to get either some news about the new season and the events that are coming. We're definitely going to get some news about sandbox changes and balance changes. It's going to be a pretty long TWAB. There's been a lot of stuff going on this week. We got a new cutscene, a bunch of teasers from Bungie, but for the sake of time, I'll just link them in the description below so we can get into the TWAB as quickly as possible. If you enjoy the video, please leave a like below and hit that subscribe button for me, but let's go ahead and dive right into it. So starting off, they say this week at Bungie, Season of the Worthy is ready for departure. Before we talk about anything else, we'd like to maintain your focus on the events unfolding around the world. You may have seen demonstrations in your town, or like many of us here, down the street from the place you call home. So yeah, guys, Bungie posted a statement about the Black Lives Matter movement. Definitely go and check it out. I'll leave a link to the TWAB down below. They have a bunch of websites that you can go visit to show your support for the movement. It's a really big deal. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen it on the news. There's protests all across the entire country. It's a massive movement. You can see it everywhere. It's really good to go and show your support and donate to one of these websites. They go on to say support does not end with a single statement or action. We'll continue to use our games and our shared voice to make the world a better place. We hope you'll join in supporting these efforts by visiting the following resources noted above and more by getting directly involved. So yeah, again, I'll leave the links below. You can come check it out. They also say this week also kicks off Pride Month. If you hadn't seen in the Bungie store announcement, our Pride pins are back in stock. All profits from sales of the Bungie Pride pin benefit the It Gets Better project, which inspires people across the globe to share their stories and remind the next generation of LGBTQ youth that hope is out there and that it will get better. We also have some words from the Bungie Diversity Committee speaking to the design of the pin. They say our Pride pin was specifically designed to include black and brown stripes in an effort to be inclusive and show support for people of color within the LGBT community. In that spirit, we want to continue our support for all intersectional communities, including LGBT individuals who are also part of the black community currently fighting against racial oppression, demanding justice and equality. We can support the Black Lives Matter movement and the LGBT movement at the same time because without the leadership and heroism of transgender black and brown individuals like Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, today's LGBT rights would not exist. And so now is the time to do more than help both rather than dividing our efforts. If you snag a pin, you'll also receive a code for the True Colors emblem to show your support in-game when playing Destiny 2. So I'll put a picture up here in the video, guys. It's a really cool emblem, and it's a really good way to show your support. You can support multiple communities at once by purchasing this emblem. Definitely a good effort to throw your weight behind if you haven't already donated to another movement already. So definitely keep your eyes on that one. But it looks like we're going to dive into a little bit more of what's coming next with Destiny 2. So they go on to say, within Destiny 2, you may have been watching the approach of the Almighty. You're itching to see the conclusion of the season, but you're also starting to hear whispers of what's coming next. Join us on Tuesday, June 9th at 9 a.m. PDT to learn about the future of Destiny 2. So if you guys haven't seen, like I said, they've been doing teasers all week on Twitter. They did have a formal announcement, and there's a splash page up on Bungie's website showing the announcement time and date. I'm sure they'll probably do some sort of a live stream reveal. Probably won't be exactly what we're used to given the circumstances around the world, but there will definitely be an event that they have going on at that time. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for that because we're really light on info right now. And we're all pretty eager to find out what's going on. So moving on, they say preview 2.9.0. So this should be the patch notes and maybe some balance changes. So I'm going to read it. Like, this is my first time reading through the TWAB. It's completely candid, so I'll try and give feedback as I'm going through it. There's going to be a lot to dig through here. They say Destiny 2 Update 2.9.0 will become available next week, meaning we have a pile of patch notes to get through. Let's take a quick moment to look at some of the changes. They say Eververse. A few TWABs back, we talked about the future of Eververse and how we're making changes to some reward structures to better balance gameplay rewards with Eververse content. Season of Redacted will contain a few introductory changes with more shifts coming in Season 12. The following changes will become available next week. Legendary Armor Ornaments. As noted in a previous TWAB, we have shifted the Season 11 armor offering to be a gameplay reward for aspirational content. So that's pretty cool. There's not going to be an Eververse set. I'm guessing it's probably going to be in the Grandmaster Nightfalls or something along those lines. They say the Season of Opulence Intrepid ornament sets are returning to the storefront to take that place. The Season Pass, they added an additional 2,300 Bright Dust to the Season Pass. They added a Flare section to feature shaders and spawn effects in the Bright Dust purchases. Highly requested items from previous seasons will once again be available. They say we're looking at you, Wishes of Sorrow. And we will once again communicate Season 11 silver-only items at the beginning of the season. We're expecting to have an update later in Season 11 on further changes to Bright Dust acquisition, so keep your eyes peeled. So there's obviously they have really big changes for Eververse planned in the fall expansion, but we're starting to see some of those changes now, and they all seem pretty positive to me. It's going to be really nice for them to lay off on the microtransactions a little bit. But moving on to the sandbox, they say the Powerful Friends mod will no longer stack. If multiple copies of this mod are equipped, the mods will provide no bonus stats. So it's actually a little bit of a bug. You can make your Powerful Friends mod stack multiple times with only using one arc mod. So that's actually a good thing. That mod is pretty out of control for hunters. It lets you hit 100 mobility super easily. But they have some commentary on it. They say only solar seasonal mods are intended to stack. No part of arc mods are intended to have stacking functionality. Powerful Friends granted plus 20 to mobility, which players could leverage to get 3 stack columns to the max of 100 points. The mod is not priced sufficiently to justify its benefits, and increasing its cost would have adverse effects on its primary benefit usage. Season 11 introduces a new arc mod, granting a similar stat bonus to strength and will not stack. Enhanced auto rifle loader, enhanced fusion rifle loader, and enhanced bow loader armor mods now have a chance to drop from Pinnacle mod sources. They say raid rewards. The following raid exotics now have increased drop chances: 1k voices, Anarchy, and Always on Time, the exotic sparrow from the secret chest in Scourge of the Past. They say note, drop chance begins at 10% and increases to a max of 50% over 20 clears. That's good news for me because shameful, you can shame me for this. I don't have either of them. I need to go get them. Maybe now I finally will, because it's just been too much of a chore for me to go do those raids and not get them. So maybe I'll finally go get those exotics. They say trials rewards. Additional masterwork material rewards will now drop at 3, 5, and 7 trials wins. Added a trials weekly bounty, which unlocks trials engrams on Sate 14. The bounty reward will match the win 3 milestone reward of the week. So that's going to be kind of nice for some of the more casual players who have been having a hard time going flawless or getting that 3-win milestone. You'll actually be able to get something for just diving into trials and getting a win or earning some tokens. If you complete that bounty, you can get the reward from 3 wins. Trials tokens distribution has been rebalanced to focus on wins 3, 5, and 7 of a passage. This includes repeat passages. Trials tokens are no longer awarded from match completions. Tokens are now granted specifically through wins and bounties. Passage of Wealth now doubles the bonus trial tokens earned at 3, 5, and 7 wins. So I hope you enjoyed this appetizer, full course, and more coming on June 9th. See you then. So not a ton of patch notes. I mean, they're not talking balance or anything here. They're just talking about some system changes. But those trials changes should definitely be good to bring more people into the playlist and not make it such a farm for the people who are just token farming in the low end of the card. But moving on, they say mixing a green thumb with a bumper jumper. I don't know what that means. They say, so we heard you like patch note previews. They're short, sweet, and to the point. This topic, though, needs a bit more time to get through. Today, staff designer Lisa Brown takes center stage to walk us through the upcoming controller remapping feature that the team has been working on. Lisa says, greetings, Guardians. I'm Lisa, a staff designer on the Sandbox team here at Bungie, and I'm going to give an overview of the controller remapping feature for gameplay actions that will be coming to Destiny for all players in the season of Redacted. So this is coming next week in this coming season. Although we have controller presets in Destiny, these aren't enough to meet basic accessibility guidelines for motor control and mobility. We've been working with some amazing accessibility consultants to create support for remapping buttons on the controller. Here, I'll give an overview of how to use the feature, what it can and can't do, and then share some setups that have been used by various Bungie employees as examples. As a quick note, all of the below examples will be shown using Xbox button layouts. They say, there's an overview. They say players can create a custom controller layout by going to the controller section of the settings screen and choosing a button layout. A custom option is available in the list. There's a picture here. I'll show it in the video. They say on this screen, you'll be able to customize mappings for gameplay actions on your character in vehicles and general settings, as well as like emotes and interacting with prompts. There's a full picture here. You can see all of the mappings, and there's a whole list here. They say if you're like me and you typically use a preset other than the default one, you can use the reset button to start from one of those presets. To rebind a button, select the button mapping next to the action you want, and the next screen will allow you to input the button you want to remap to. So that's going to be really nice for a lot of controller players. You can kind of finally move keybinds exactly where you want. I say keybinds because I'm a PC player, but your controller mapping, you can finally move them however you want on your controller. But moving on, they say verbs, verbs, verbs. One of the challenges with controller remapping in Destiny is that we have a lot of player verbs. Think of verbs as actions: throwing grenades, triggering your super, jumping, sprinting, sliding. With PC remapping, there's a whole keyboard at your disposal to map buttons. On the controller, there's only so many buttons, so we have many more verbs than buttons. They say to solve this, we allow the player to map an action not just to a button, but also a type of input. Our 3 input types are press, long press, and double press. As an example, some of our exotic weapons, Borealis, Symmetry, and Hardlight, have an alternate weapon action, which has typically been activated by holding reload. Now, this can be mapped separately to a different button or different input. For example, I like to change it from a long press X to a double press. Now, when I want to switch Symmetry's firing mode, I can double press the X button. So that's going to be kind of cool. You can designate how you want all of those actions to work on your controller. I would actually really like some of that support to come to PC. I'd like to be able to put like my hunter dodge on a double tap in a direction, or just some of that functionality would be kind of cool if it came to PC. They go on to say chord support. In addition to mapping actions to an individual button, we also support mapping to chords, meaning 2 buttons pressed simultaneously. In the default layout in Destiny, pressing the left and right bumpers together executes your super. That's a perfect example. Here's a custom layout example where a player has mapped some of the basic character options to just the face button using chords. So I'm just going to put the screenshot up on the screen. It's going to be a little difficult to explain through words, but I think you understand what they're saying. You're going to be able to map commands to multiple button presses. So you could press both trigger buttons to do something, or A and X to do something as well. They go on to say constraints and caveats. Although this feature is a step towards greater motor accessibility in Destiny, it is still limited in what it can do. For example, this controller remapping feature is limited to gameplay actions, not UI input or menu navigation. One motor accessibility challenge are inputs that require the player to hold down a button. We have options to switch between holds and toggles for some of our actions, but we're not able to address all cases, like weapon firing, jump abilities, and charging grenades and stuff. We opted for flexibility in allowing players to map any action to any button and input combination, but that flexibility means there are some combinations that may give unexpected results for the player. Example, if you map melee to press X, then some other actions to long press X, the melee action resolves before the duration. So it's just, there's a lot of nuances with the system, so you're going to have to experiment with it a little bit, but it's definitely going to open up a lot more freedom to remap things as you see fit. It's not a perfect system, but it's definitely a huge push to get more accessibility in the hands of, motor disabled players and people who have a hard time with certain button presses and things like that. They go on to show a couple of Bungie examples. I'm just going to skip through it a little bit. I think you guys understand the gist. You'll be able to just fully remap all of your commands on your controller more freely. And it should be really nice if you're using like a SCUF controller or the Xbox Elite controller as well. So they go on to say last call. It's pretty much closing time. You don't have to go home, but you should definitely get your triumphs done before the servers go offline next Tuesday. Player support has a full roundup. This is their report. Closing out Season of the Worthy. When Season of the Worthy ends on the weekly reset, there will be a number of items, activities, and triumphs that are no longer available. Some of these items include the Season of the Worthy Season Pass and any available bonuses, the Season of the Worthy Seal and Almighty Title. Almighty Title must be claimed and equipped before the season ends. access to the EDZ, Moon, and Io Seraph bunkers, the Kanjali Season artifact, and the power increase from the artifact, the Seraph Tower public event, the Fourth Horseman, and Felwinters Lie quests are also going away. So be sure to get those done, because those are very badass weapons that you're going to want in your arsenal for next season. Definitely go get them done. I say a full list of items being removed at the season end can be found here. I'll try and put that link in the description. I say please note that season pass rewards from Season of Dawn will be unavailable to claim when Season of the Worthy ends. So if you guys didn't know, you can actually claim the previous season's rewards up until the end of the following season. So when the new season begins, Season of Dawn rewards will no longer be claimable if you missed some of those. They say on Tuesday, June 9th, update 2.9 will be available to all players. Below is a timeline. They're going to start maintenance at 9 a.m. PDT, and they said around 2 p.m. PDT the maintenance will conclude, but it'll come back online about an hour after the maintenance, so it shouldn't be too long. They just have to do maintenance offline for 1 hour. They say there's a few upcoming resolved issues. The Polaris Lance Perfect Fifth Explosive Shot is finally being fixed. That's been bugged for a really long time. I know a lot of people have been waiting for a fix on that. The Dunemarchers Linear Actuators perk will now work after triggering on yellow bar enemies. Players on Steam will no longer have their FPS locked to 30 when relaunching the game. Offline players and clans will no longer have their names set to offline. Warlock's Celestial Fire melee ability will now trigger the Winter's Guile Warlord Sigil perk. I didn't know it wasn't actually doing that. That makes it even stronger because it's really good with Top Tree Dawnblade. There's a few current known issues. They say if the worms used in the Broodhole Strike despawn, players need to kill all the remaining Worm Knights and place any remaining worms for another Worm Knight to spawn. So it's just a weird glitch with that strike right now. They go on to show the movies of the week and all of that, and a final closing paragraph for the TWAB. They say there are so many important things going on in the world, it's difficult to maintain focus on much of anything right now. I've been spending a lot of time with friends in Discord while hitting weekly milestones, talking to them about their health, thoughts, and feelings concerning current world events. Much of our attention has been on what's happening outside our windows. The thing is, this isn't new. This has been happening since well before many of us were born. It's time to listen and learn from our neighbors and communities. Check in with your fellow guardians, friends, and family. Take action to help them out if or when they need it. It's perfectly okay to press pause, put your controllers down, and focus your attention elsewhere, especially if you're going out there to demand justice and to support the Black community. You may find many of us out there with you in the greater Seattle area. Destiny will still be here when you want to sit down for a few games. It isn't going anywhere. Be well, be safe, and we'll see you Starside, DMG. So, not quite the TWAB I was expecting. I was really thinking we were going to get more details on sandbox changes, and maybe they're still keeping us in the dark about what's coming next season, which means it's going to be pretty big, guys. So definitely keep your eyes tuned, or keep your ears tuned to the Bungie Twitter, the Destiny Twitter. They've been posting all the teasers and things on there. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Something might happen with the Almighty tomorrow. There is a triumphant emblem in game that hasn't been unlocked that is designated for this season, so it's probably going to come to us sometime this weekend. So that's going to do it for today's TWAB, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate your time. Please leave a like and hit that subscribe button for me if you enjoyed the video, and I guess we'll just have to bide our time until the new season launches on Tuesday. I hope you're as excited as I am. There's going to be some pretty cool stuff going on in Destiny. So again, thanks for your time. Take care. Bye-bye.